Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So according to The Guardian, Manchester United have made an initial £12 million bid for Alex Telles. Porto have already revealed their asking price. They do want around £18 million. Alex Telles has already urged Porto to lower their asking price. We recently had a €15 million offer turned down. Now, the personal terms have already been agreed, and he has agreed a 5-year contract with Manchester United worth around £70,000 a week. Alex Telles is in the final year of his contract. So from a Porto perspective, they'd rather cash in for him now rather than let him go on a free transfer next year. Alex Telles has already said that he does want to leave Porto. He does have a release clause of around £36 million. He has been at Porto for quite a few years now. Before he was at Porto, he was at Inter Milan. He had a loan spell with Inter Milan. Before then, he was at Galatasaray. When he was younger, he played for Grêmio and Juventude. If Alex Telles is sold as well, Porto have to pay around 10% of the transfer fee to Galatasaray due to the sell-on clause. But I do want Manchester United to sign Alex Telles because he's predominantly a left-back, and Manchester United are in search for a left-back. We have got two predominant left-backs in the team at the moment, and that's Luke Shaw. He's our first choice left-back, but my element of concern about Luke Shaw is injury-prone. And Brandon Williams, he's our backup left-back. Alex Telles is 27 years of age, so he's also highly experienced. But their boss, Porto's boss the other week, said that Alex Telles could leave in the next fortnight. He was saying early last week, was Telles, that he wanted to complete a move to Manchester United. Now, we have been looking at a couple of alternatives to him. We've been looking at Tagliafico from Ajax. We've also been looking at Sarr from Monaco. But Porto have already lowered their asking price because at the first, Porto wanted in the £20-odd million range for the player. So there's still a chance, we could get him on the board. But Fabrizio Romano did recently reveal that negotiations are still going on between Man United and Porto over a fee. So that's the news on that. Now, Manchester United have inquired about Ismaila Sarr from Watford. We are seeing him as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. Now, we probably would have to pay at least £40 million to get Ismaila Sarr on the board. He's still a much cheaper solution than Jadon Sancho. Now, Liverpool have recently expressed their interest in Ismaila Sarr. Ismaila Sarr has got a contract with Watford until 2024 because when he signed for Watford last year, he signed a 5-year deal. Watford did pay around £30 million for him from Rennes. Before he was at Rennes, he was at Metz. He is only the age of 22 and he's predominantly a winger. So would you take him at Manchester United? Because time is now running out for us to get Jadon Sancho. He says we are preparing to put a bid in of around £90 million. So we're going to offer like £75 million up front with £15 million in add-ons. It said yesterday that Sancho's move to Manchester United has hit a stumbling block because Dortmund have expressed their concerns over the structure of our offer. I think Dortmund are looking for more up front. Dortmund's valuation is around £108 million, and they do remain ruthless over their valuation. And throughout the course of this Jadon Sancho transfer saga, it has been Borussia Dortmund's asking price that has been the stumbling block. We've not been determined to meet what they're demanding. Like I've said, Sancho is an exceptional player, but I just don't think he's worth what Dortmund are demanding. I probably think he's worth from between 70 to £80 million at the max. Now, Matt Judge flew out to Germany recently to negotiate a deal, and Solskjaer said he's expecting a transfer to be completed this week. Now, Borussia Dortmund, they're still adamant that Sancho will not be sold, because you had, Sebastian Kehl, Dortmund's head of football, recently saying that Sancho will not be sold and he'll stay at Dortmund for this season. And he said Man United have got no chance of getting him in a cut price deal. You had Lucien Favre quite a few weeks ago saying that Sancho will be staying, and Michael Zorg is still saying the exact same thing, their sporting director. David Ornstein recently gave us an update on Sancho. He's from The Athletic. He's David Ornstein. And he said that the terms have been agreed on a long-term contract. But he did mention, that Manchester United are now looking at more alternatives. Not only Ismaila Sarr, we're also been looking at Ousmane Dembele. We've also been looking at Ivan Perisic. We've also been looking at Douglas Costa. We've been looking at Antoine Fati Vieira. Before we've looked at Robin Matondo. Fabrizio Romano, he's spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times, and he still believes that Sancho wants to come to Manchester United. Now, don't forget, the other month, Fabrizio Romano had said that Sancho had agreed terms with Man United, and he said he was set to sign a 5-year contract with the club. But just after that got reported, he said that talks had broken down. But I think it's a possibility that we'll still sign Sancho. Around 4 or 5 weeks ago, Sancho's move to Manchester United looked dead in the water, because Dortmund said to us last month that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. We obviously missed out on that deadline. So Sancho decided to go out on pre-season. It also mentioned that we'd abandoned our chase for the player until the summer of 2021, which is obviously next summer. But if we don't sign him in this summer transfer window, then we may never sign him, because next year I presume we'll face competition for him. And if he stays at Dortmund this season and he continues his consistency, his valuation will probably go up. His valuation's already gone up a hell of a lot, because, Dortmund only paid £8 million in for Man City back in 2017. He had a couple of years at Manchester City, but the main explanation why he left Manchester City is because he didn't get assured any first-team opportunities. Before he was at City, he was at Watford. But yeah, he's enjoyed 3 years so far with Dortmund. He's still got a contract with Dortmund until 2022. And I've already outlined the reasons why I want him at the football club, is because I think he'd exceed expectations in the Premier League. Plus, he's got a very, very good friendship with Rashford, and he's still very, very young, and he's predominantly a right winner. Sancho did recently say he's desperate to link up with Maguire, Greenwood and Rashford. And he said, Rashford is the most skillful player he has played with. I think if Sancho was sold, Manchester City would also benefit from it, because they'd get around 15% of the transfer fee. And we know that obviously Sancho would be our next number 7, because obviously he'd fulfill number 7 well, and we have got number 7 vacant at the moment. But there's some Manchester United fans that are now starting to disregard it and they're not thinking it's going to happen. This is why we're looking at more alternatives. But Solskjaer's been very infuriated over the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, but I don't blame you. It's gone on for so long now. I think we've been in for him for like the last 3 years. He's obviously our number one priority target. And Solskjaer's held quite a few talks with Sancho, hasn't he? We was hoping to sign him by the time we played Crystal Palace, but obviously that didn't happen. So yeah, like I've mentioned to you, we are in the final week of the transfer window. And Solskjaer has revealed throughout the course of this transfer window that he has been very frustrated with the board. Main explanation is over the lack of transfer business up until this point. So far, we have only made one signing, and that was Donny van de Beek. And I think up until this point, Solskjaer has not been backed enough as Manchester United manager, and I think he does deserve more backing because, like I've mentioned before, Solskjaer's publicly admitted that Manchester United have got to spend money in this summer transfer window if we are to be up there competing with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. And another one of my element of concerns as well is that there's teams around us, that have been doing very, very good recruitment. But like I've mentioned to you, I'm demanding the board out. A lot of Manchester United fans are demanding the board out. We've been critical of them for several years, flexing how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. I think the managers that we've had in the last 7 years since Ferguson retired haven't been backed enough. I think we've also made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years. Woodward's been with us around 8 years because he's been with us since 2012. And the Glazers have been with us around, 15 years or so because they've been with us since 2005. Maybe even some of the blame stems from Matt Judge. He's been with us around 7 years. And he's been an assistant transfer negotiator since 2016. But I think the Glazers are to blame more than not because, the Glazers are the ones that recommended Woodward in and they also recommended Matt Judge in. But so far at the football club, Solskjaer has spent around £240 million. Don't get me wrong, he has made some good signings. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into Manchester United. Pereira's just recently left. He's gone to Lazio on a season loan. That obviously includes the option to buy for just over £24 million. And a 5-year contract will be included with around £35,000 a week. But I said, we needed to get rid of Pereira because I don't think he was good enough to represent Man United. And he obviously, he doesn't get in the team now anyway. Also, too, with that the likes of Lukaku go, Alexis Sanchez, Angel Gomez, Ander Herrera, Marian Fellaini, Matteo Darmian, Valencia, Young, Tahith Chong, Dylan Levitt, Joe Pereira. We obviously loaned Dylan Levitt, Joe Pereira and Tahith Chong out. So yeah, we have got rid of a lot of players since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended into the club. And I also like the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has promoted the youth. Because since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over the reins at Man United in December 2018, he's had a habit of developing young, homegrown talents. And we've also had some good periods under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Like I mentioned, we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions. Obviously, we did well in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. But we've obviously had bad periods under the Solskjaer era, and there's still things that have obviously got to improve under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Like I've mentioned, I think Solskjaer's got to improve his decision making because in a lot of games at Manchester United, he's been very tactical and naive. There's still certain players that I've got to improve, and I think there's still aspects of our game that I've got to improve. Like I said, up until this point, departures have been difficult for Manchester United. They really, really have. And I said it's very imperative that we sell players because, quite frankly, these still deadwood at the club. And if we sell players, we'll generate money and it'll help us with our rebuilding process. Maybe we could sell another 2 players this week. Pereira's gone now. Hopefully we can get rid of at least another 2 players. It said we could actually sell up to 7 players this week, but I don't see that happening. But the players we are looking to get rid of is obviously Jesse Lingard, Chris Smalling, Rojo, Jones, Delors, and Sergio Romero. He's open to leaving the club because Romero is now 3rd choice goalkeeper. Romero's not going to want to stay at Manchester United as 3rd choice goalkeeper, is he? Daniel James, I think he'll only go if we sign Sancho, like I've already said. We'll allow him to go out on loan. Leeds United have been interested in Daniel James. Leeds have inquired about getting him on loan. It recently said that Leeds were going to put around the £12 million bidding for him. Daniel James though said he wants to stay at Man United and fight for his place. We got Daniel James in June last year for around £18 million. Dan James did sign a 5-year deal with the club. There's also an option of a further year. But this summer transfer window is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 4th transfer window as Manchester United manager. Now, obviously, this season is his 2nd full season at the football club. And Solskjaer knows this is a big season for him. And Solskjaer knows he's got to exceed his expectations if he is to remain Manchester United manager. I give you the news on what Roy Keane said yesterday. Roy Keane come out and said that Solskjaer's got to guide us to a top 4 finish and win a trophy if he is to keep his job at Man United. And if he doesn't exceed his expectations, then Roy Keane thinks he will get sacked. I want Manchester United to win a trophy this season because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. I think for us to mount a title challenge up, we do need to make at least 2 or 3 more signings. I think we are at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 years off winning the Premier League title. That's my opinion anyway. But we have not won the Premier League since 2013. So the last time we won it was under the Alex Ferguson era. So we haven't made any title challenge up in the last 7 years. Now, we're 3 games into this season so far. Obviously, we lost our opening game against Crystal Palace by 3-1. That was our worst defeat on an opening day of a Premier League season since 1995, which is 25 years ago. And it was the 2nd season in a row that we'd lost to Crystal Palace at Old Trafford in the league. But we bounced back since then because we've won our last 2 games. We beat Luton Town in the Carabao Cup 3-0 to get to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. And we obviously recently beat Brighton by 3-2 in the league. We rode our luck. I'll be honest, Solskjaer made an admission saying that, we rode our luck. But all that matters is we still got the win. And it was our first league win of the season. But there's still Manchester United fans, I presume, that will be demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. And he would have received, obviously, a lot of criticism. I have a bit of a perception on Solskjaer, but I can give you more of a perception on him as we delve more into the season. I always said he needed another season at Manchester United because it is a transition period, and it has been a transition period for a while. Some of the blame stems from Solskjaer, but I think also too some players are accountable as well. But don't forget, like I mentioned, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer first came into the football club, he was inheriting a squad that was worth £700 million. In the last 7 years, we've spent nearly £1 billion on players, including who we've brought in under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and we've recruited over 30 odd players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Obviously under Moyes we brought Fellaini and Maturin. Under Louis van Gaal era we brought the likes of Schneiderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Falcao, Depay, Rojo, Darmian, Martial, Shaw, Herrera, Victor Valdez, Sergio Romero and all of that. But a lot of the players Louis van Gaal brought in are no longer at Manchester United. And under the Mourinho era, we recommended 11 players into the football club. And the vast majority of his team is Jose Mourinho. As you know, Mourinho brought Lee Grant in, he brought Dalot in, he brought Lindelof in, he brought Bay in. Bay was his first signing. He brought Fred in, he brought Matic in, he brought Pogba in, he brought Lukaku in, who's no longer here. He also brought Sanchez in, he brought Mkhitaryan in, he brought Ibrahimovic in. You know, did Jose Mourinho. So, there you go. And like I said, we've brought 6 senior players in under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But I think since 2016, we have spent around £500 odd million on players. Now, obviously, our most expensive signing at the moment is Paul Pogba, who we paid £89 million for. Obviously, second most expensive signing at the moment is Harry Maguire. We got him in a deal worth £80 million from Leicester last summer, and he's the most expensive centre-half in the world. Lukaku, he's on that list as one of our most expensive signings because when we got him from Everton in 2017, we paid £75 million for him. Fred, he's on that list as well because we got him for around £52 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Matic, he's on that list because we got him for around £40 million from Chelsea. And Wan-Bissaka's also on that list because we got him in a deal worth £40 million. You know, you say Bruno Fernandes is also on that list. I think we got Bruno Fernandes in a deal worth £55 million. But like I've said, you know, if Manchester United were to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, who would come in to replace him now? Before he got the job in March last year, Pochettino was linked with a managerial role at Man United. At one point, there was also talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming into the club, and at one point, Zinedine Zidane was linked with a managerial role at Manchester United. But we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, you know, because we're not known as a sacking club, but we have sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was obviously Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho. So Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. And in the last 7 years, we've only won 3 trophies, and that was the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal and the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. But like I've said before, I just think it's going to be hard for any manager at Manchester United to replicate Ferguson's legacy or to last as long as Alex Ferguson did. Ferguson endured 20 odd years at the club, won a total of 38 major honours, including 13 Premier League titles in that. But he didn't settle in straight away, Ferguson, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, did he? The only ever mistake Ferguson made was appointing Moyes in, but the reason at the time he appointed Moyes in is because they was both Scottish. You know. But yeah, like I said, you know, we've still got good players in our team, and, you know, there's a lot of players that Manchester United will keep, like I've already gone through with you. Solskjaer's confirmed Maguire will remain Man United captain this season. You know, I think David De Gea is going to remain our number 1 for this season. Even I think now Dean Henderson is reliable enough to become our number 1 goalkeeper, because I think Dean Henderson has got that experience behind him now. But I think he could be our number 1 in the next season, in the next year or two, could Dean Henderson. On my next video, I will be giving you a preview for the Brighton-Manchester United game in the Carabao Cup 4th round. Obviously, this is going to be the second time we are playing Brighton in a matter of days, and we are looking to beat them for the second time this season. We progressed to the fourth round of the Carabao Cup by beating Luton in the third round by 3-0, and Solskjaer made around 10 changes in that game. And I do think in this game against Brighton he'll make changes from the 3-2 win against them at the weekend. He will make changes. But you can say the Carabao Cup is a priority for Manchester United. Because the Carabao Cup's a chance of us winning a trophy. You know, you can say the FA Cup's a chance of us winning a trophy. But the likes of the Champions League, I know we're in it, but we're obviously not good enough to win it. You know, obviously we're not going to win the Premier League and that. But there you go. But last season was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first full season at the club. And to be fair, he did exceed most of his expectations. You know, he obviously got us qualification for the Champions League. We finished third and we did progress to 3 semi-finals. The FA Cup semi-final, the Europa League semi-final and the EFL Cup semi-final. The only expectation we didn't exceed last season was winning a trophy. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, that's everything to update you with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.